friends. Hope you're doing well. So, if you're new here, every year I make a list of stupid arbitrary goals to try and just do better and, have kind of some guideposts and some targets to hit. I made a video the other day about basic tips for setting your own goals if you're interested in doing this yourself. But basically, I think the biggest thing, if I can only give you one tip from that video, it's set input-based goals. So the goal should not be like, I want to make $10,000 on YouTube. The goal should be like, I want to make X number of videos for YouTube. Stuff you can control. So with that theme in mind, the big thing that I want out of 2025 that I've decided is that I want to spend less time kind of aimlessly scrolling social media and finding stuff. I saw this reel the other day, of all things, that like kind of feels like, whoa, snap me into it. That really because for the longest time I was just like, social media doesn't really affect me mentally all that much. And then I saw this reel, and then it like really hit home. It was this girl, and she was watching reels, and it was like, hey friends, like join me in my new home workout space. And then she's just kind of like sitting in her like basement that just has like a yoga mat and a couple dumbbells, and you can kind of tell like she's like bummed by it. And then it's like, join me on my first class trip, and you're starting to think of like, oh yeah, all those like little comparisons that like at the beginning you follow things because you're like, oh, this is inspirational or this is knowledge based, and you start to realize like a lot of the people you follow, it maybe it starts that way, and maybe it kind of is. It's like inspiring, like especially like I follow a lot of like Warhammer painters, and you're like, oh, that's kind of inspiring, but then the flip side of that is also like, oh, well, like now I don't feel as good about my army, like I used to. And so there's that, comparison that just happens organically. And it's like, so I want to get away. I want to get out of that. And also, I mean, not for nothing, I don't want to get political here. This is supposed to be a way out of that. But I'm not looking forward to every day getting on the internet and finding out what certain people have done to embarrass our country. Not really looking forward to that again. I don't know why people signed up for that. And if you voted for that dipshit, fuck you. Yeah, not cool. Anyway, on to the goals. The goals are largely the same as this year. I feel like my goals this year were like in a really good place, and it all really guided. The only one that didn't really work for me was the kettlebell goal. And I don't know, I just couldn't get motivated, and I kept getting like these small nagging injuries that made it hard to like want to like go with kettlebells. Because the thing with kettlebells, like I like them, and they're nice to use, and they're fun to use, and they're really efficient. And it's just like, if you have certain like small nagging injuries, it becomes very hard to do the ones that like are good high volume ones. And so my wrist has been giving me problems, and my like hips have been giving me problems. So it's hard to do presses, and it's hard to do swings. And if you're not pressing and you're not doing swings, like there's not a lot other things you could do with kettlebells. Like you could do circles, and you could do cleans, but like if you're not really clean and pressing, it just feels like you're doing only half the movement. So it's just like I would get into a groove, and I would be pressing, for a couple days in a row, and then my wrist would be like, I'm not loving this. Like, okay, then I'll do swings, and then my back would start hurting because my hips, and it's just, anyway, so that was the only one that, but that one's coming back this year, too. Anyway, let's just get on with it. It's 5 minutes into the video, and we're, wasting time. Anyway, so, I broke it into, there's 3 big sections. We have kind of fitness, health, kind of based goals. We have experience-based goals, and then career financial goals. So in the fitness goals, we've got 4. We've got ride 2,460 miles on bikes. And I know you're like, that's a weird number. That is the shortest distance to go across the continental United States. It's like California to, I think, somewhere in Florida, something like that. Somewhere like the lower tip of California to the topper tip of Florida. I googled it a year or two ago. I don't remember what the route is, but that's the route you could take on the road, I suppose. Hockey Training Goal is coming back this year, 2024. The goal was really wonky and it had like a bunch of different like sub goals. That's another thing that I would advise you to do is to make kind of I'm trying to think of what you would call them. I call them cluster goals, but you could kind of call them like either or yes and goals. So kind of like, for example, the hockey training goal. The hockey training goal is 200 hours of ice time and or move 3 million pounds with kettlebells and heavy clubs / maces. That's anything over 10 pounds, the clubs and maces bit. And so it's like I have to do both of those things to get 100%. But if, for example, I got only 100 hours of hockey time, then I could do 4.5 million pounds of kettlebells moved. So you see how, or I could do, 400 hours of hockey time and no kettlebells. So that's kind of how that either or cluster goals work, is there's ebb and flow to them. I don't know if there's a better word for that. Yin and yang goals. I don't, I'll think of something. As soon as I stop recording this, I'll think of a better name for it. But I just call them cluster goals for now. So there's that one. The next one is just Apple Watch goals. I like this. It's nice to have, tracks my activity. I noticed I'm a lot more active since I got one. If, you don't need to get an Apple Watch. I just like, the Apple Watch is nice because it pairs with my iPhone and I get the texts and I can use it to find my iPhone, which I use that like 10 times a day because I just set my phone down all over the place and forget where I put it. So that's handy. But I've had Fitbits before. Those are great. I know a lot of people like the Garmin's. If you can get, keep knocking the microphone. If you can get a wearable fitness tracker, it will, I promise you, you will definitely be more active. It's great for your health. Highly recommend it. I don't have any brand loyalty. The iPhone one's good. But the goal is 3.5 million steps, and or 500,000 active calories and or 365 active hours. So this year, 2024, that goal was still there. It was 3.5 million steps and 500,000 active calories. I'm doing pretty good on it, but I'm gonna fall short. I already know, just based off pacing and the fact that it's getting cold outside and I can't do like 25,000 steps a day. It's just not gonna happen. But it's a good, I think it's one that I can hit if I really try at it. There was a lot. I was doing pretty good on this goal actually this year, and then there was like some depression and a lot of work, and it just started to fall apart, and then like it got worse. It's interesting because, and I was just overworked. That was the other thing. So it's interesting. It's like at the beginning of the year, I was pretty broke, but I was doing really good on my fitness goals. And then now at the end of the year, I've got tons of money, but I have been doing terrible on my fitness goals. So I gotta figure out some kind of balance. So there's that. And then the last goal for the fitness goals is 150 hours of mobility, flexibility, training. So stuff like swinging light clubs, Indian clubs, doing mobility work, doing like rucking, anything like that, and body weight stuff, plyometrics. That's all going in here. 150 hours. That's not bad. I think that ends up being like 30 minutes a day, which is like not, especially when you're already tacking on the hockey training and the bikes. Like, those are 3, real tough goals. And then the Apple Watch is just kind of the overarching goal that kind of tracks all my activity. Moving on to experiences. I'm bringing back 365 films. I'm going to try to watch 365 films this year. I don't know if I'm going to stipulate that they all have to be different films, because there are times where I'm like, oh, I want to watch that again, or I'm like, I just feel like watching a comfort movie, It's definitely not going to be all new films, because I probably could do that, but, sometimes you just want to watch, especially if you're, like, challenging yourself to watch 365 films, you kind of want to, like, it's sometimes fun to, like, stack double headers and be like, oh, I'm going to watch Wolf of Wall Street and Buffaloed, like, in one, because those movies don't feel like they should be so, but there is a lot of, there's a lot of parallels. That's good. And I think I might try to do a spin-off ASMR channel that's just movie reviews, because I like talking about movies. It's fun. I haven't really been in that space, and that's, all good. And the whole point of that is, I do photography and filmmaking for a living, and being immersed in the visual language, for whatever, it sounds pretentious to say, but like the visuals of the film, they do kind of come in, and you get inspired and you think of ideas, and I think there's a lot of subconscious learning happening when you watch that many films. And I think part of what has allowed me to have the career I have is I've done this goal many times. I think I've completed it successfully only once, but just the thought process of studying the master, studying the type, so to speak. I think that has helped me a lot be better at my job. So yeah, and also that's a big time sink, and it gets me off the internet and off social media. And while I'm sitting editing photos instead of like scrolling aimlessly on Reddit, I could be watching a movie instead, and that's gonna I know that's gonna help my mental health a lot more than being engaged in whatever dipshit stuff the government did. Read 50 books. That's back. I love books. Books are great. I learn a lot, even from books I'm rereading. I find I pick up new stuff each time I read certain books, and that's great. Next one is just experiences and adventures. There's 200 of them. This kind of is sort of a vague goal, but the whole point of it is try new things. Go have experiences. So that, that could be like the most simple thing is like going to see a movie at the theater is like an experience. Going to a concert, going to a new restaurant is an experience. Going to a new coffee shop, but then also like doing things specifically for my fiance. Going on dates, bringing her coffee and stuff while she's at work, having lunch with her at work, that kind of stuff, and taking the dog out to the park because he loves it. He's a good boy, he deserves park time and cool fun adventures. So just kind of all that stuff of like, let's get out of the house, let's go do a thing, let's have something, 200 of those. That's going pretty good this year. That felt like a good number, good challenge. And then finally 250 hours of Warhammer time. This year the goal was 300 hours, and I'm finding that's maybe just a bit too much. Because originally it was 200 hours, and then I was crushing that super hard. So at the midway point, I was like, okay, let's make it 300 hours. And now I'm like, that's maybe too much. 250 feels like a good middle ground. I think I might get to 300 this year. I'm about 60 hours behind, which means doing it basically 2 hours a day, every day for the rest of the year, which, I'll have a lot of work in December, so that might be a tall order, but like it's not hard when you think about like a game. It could take 3-4 hours, it's doable. It's gonna be tough. Then the next goal, the next group of goals, the next 4 goals are business goals, career goals. I have keep 50,000 photos again, so that's no matter what I take, that's the number I'd keep of the once I edit it and delete all the bad ones. 50,000, deliver to clients, kept for personal reasons, whatever. 50,000 of them. Create 500 pieces of YouTube content, video content for the internet, basically. This year I let shorts count as a full video. Next year I'm gonna make the shorts count as like a quarter of a video. I'm not sure how I'm gonna count for that yet in my spreadsheets. I'll figure that out. That'd be a fun little challenge to learn a little more about spreadsheets, push myself a bit. But yeah, I'm doing pretty good. I'm at a little over 300 videos, but I had a big shorts series that I did on one of my other channels, and that was like 90 videos by itself. So if you think about that, you're like, okay, you take those 90 videos out, I've made 200 some videos, like actual videos. Like that's still insanely good. But, you know, I think 500 is a totally doable number when you think about, like, some of the videos are just ASMR videos that are, like, 2 minutes long. It's like, yeah, you could do that every day. It shouldn't be that hard. Anyway. Then I've got finance goals. Every year I've always done, I call them business goals, and it's kind of just this vague, kind of nebulous, like, leftover catch of goals. And it's like investing in retirement, paying off debt, but then also like social media posts and like going on business lunches, that kind of stuff. And that all kind of gloms into one goal, and it always does like not amazing. It does, you know, I usually get 50-60% on that one, which is like the average. But I'm looking at it and I'm realizing like I'm not saving for retirement like I should. I'm not paying off my debt like I want to. So this year in 2025 coming up, it's just the money goals. It's just the business. It's like, okay, now the everything else that usually perks that goal up, no, doesn't count this year. We're putting that into another goal. And it's just retirement savings and paying off debt, and I might throw a third thing in there. I don't know what that third thing will be. If maybe it's just net worth or in total investments or you know, I don't know. But it's focused on like, it's gonna very much be input goal of like, stop spending money on stupid shit, start saving for retirement. You are very behind. You want to save, you want to buy a house. Like, these are the three things that are like really important to tear down on that there, king. And then finally the last one is a new goal, which is kind of like all the stuff I was just talking about, but like put into its own goal called, and I'm calling that one, do the work, show the work. And so what I'm going to do is, usually every year I put the photo goal and the video goal as part of the business goals, because I want to really incentivize myself doing the work. So that'll be in there, but then also the social media posts, doing like business lunches with people, having meetings with people, and then I'm also going to include editing time for clients. So that'll just be, because so often I get like video editing. I try not to edit video for clients anymore. I'm trying to, you know, hire editors now, because I just don't really enjoy it. Like, it's not bad. I could do it. But here's the thing. I don't mind editing. I kind of like editing. I don't like the clients kicking back notes that I don't agree with, but it's like they're paying for it, so I'd have to just shut up and be like, alright, here's the fucking thing you wanted. Like, it sucks now, but here you go. And I can't. It's so hard for me to get, and not to be like, I don't want to be like, I'm always right, because sometimes they do have good notes, but the process to get to the thing, the collaborative process, I just don't enjoy it. And there's so much to it, because it's just like the clients don't speak the language, and so like you're trying to have to decipher what the fuck they want, and sometimes they kick back like the worst notes in the world, which the worst note you can get is like, can we change the music? And I don't know, if you've never tried to find music for a video, it's the hardest fucking thing. And so you find something that like kind of works and it's okay, and you're like, I know you don't love it, but it's like, you don't have a budget to have someone make a custom piece of music. You don't have a budget for Sting or the Police. You know, you can't get anything amazing. So but you get that note kicked back and you're like, oh, I've already edited everything to the fucking music that I already picked. Like, going to get new music is that's gonna rip this out. I'm not gonna go, you don't have budget for me to go fix all these B-roll and cut it to a new music, let alone like paying me to go spend 2 hours scrubbing through hundreds of tracks to find. The worst part is just like, so much of it is just dog shit that's not gonna fit, and there's no good screening system, and it's just miserable, and you're just clicking next, this sucks, this could be good, and then you scrub through it, and it's like, oh no, this sucks later, and you're like, fuck this. Like, it makes me want to get really good at guitar and be like, I'm just gonna fucking play a thing, and if they don't like the music, I just slam my hand on the desk, but they thought, you play it, and you're like, this is the music, I made it, fuck you, oh, you don't like it, here's the guitar, figure it out yourself, fuck you. I'm saying fuck you a lot this video. Deal with it, YouTube. curse. I'm cool. That's why I don't have any subscribers. The algorithm doesn't recommend you if you say fuck. Probably. I don't know. That's a thing I think I've seen. I don't care. The whole point of this channel is just for me to like get spaghetti brain out. But yeah, that's it. Those are the goals. 12 goals. Normally I do 10, so I'm a little about 12. But that business goal had to get split up, and I really don't. I look at some of my stats, how much time I spent, screen time, and I've been playing this game called Brotato. I have 140 hours on it. I started playing it this summer sometime. So it's like, okay, if I can do 140 hours in half a year, like. The thing with Brotato, though, is like it's a really kind of silly, mindless game, and it's really nice for taking a break because like a one Brotato run is usually less than 20 minutes. So it's like I can edit photos, and then I'm like, my brain is a little fried. I'm like, let's play one round of Brotato, then I get back to work. Sometimes it's only like 5 or 10 minutes of a round, and then you die, and then you're like back to work. But then sometimes when you're on a good run, it might go a half hour, but it's very rarely longer than that. So anyway, those are the goals. That's what I got for 2025. Are you setting goals for 2025? I hope you are setting goals. I have been making these videos about setting goals, and if no one's setting goals, what is the fucking point? It's so I can look back on them and go, oh, look how good I was doing. And then it all fell apart. Seems to be a recurring theme every year. It's like you started really strong, and then that middle bit's hard, and then you end it. Sometimes I end really strong. A lot of times I end even worse. That's happened a couple of years, and it's like where the December is like, how'd you do on your goals? Like I got like 2% completion out of like the 8% is like what you need every month. So anyway, I hope you're doing well. I hope you're setting goals. I hope you're feeling hopeful as much as you can, and if not, I think it's important to focus on what you can control and the input that you can have into your life. And it's like, regardless of your circumstances, whoever's in the position of power doesn't really control us. Like, they have some say, and it sometimes sucks and it's easier for me to see as like a white dude from the Midwest that has just all kinds of privilege, but like good things still happened from 2016 to 2020. A lot of bad things happened too, but people still succeeded. Even people that like should have technically been like on the shit list still found ways to find success, and you could do that too. And I want that for you, and I want that for me, and I want that for all of us. And we're gonna get through it. It's gonna suck some days, worse than others. But if we just don't let the bastards grind us down, I think we're gonna come out ahead of this. So anyway, hope you're doing well, and if not, I hope that turns around for you real soon. And thanks for watching. See you next time. Have a good one.